Hello, concrete friends. You know why you're here? Oh, that looks yummy. Oh, we're going to make some beautiful concrete today. First off, we've got our gray matter, my very special magical mix that I use and designed to make concrete things. We have 1 kilo of gray matter and 40 grams of white pigment, 4 grams, 5 grams of red pigment, and 6 grams of yellow pigment to make up a color I like to call coral. For every 1 kilo of gray matter, hello, look at this. Look what I found. Thank you, Mother Nature, for lending your aid and making our concrete strong. Agricultural byproduct. That's good for the environment. 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 Right now, I'm just giving this a little stir. I want to incorporate my pigments into the gray matter before I add water. 100 milliliters of water. Doesn't seem like much, does it? Hardly seems like enough. It is. Keep going. There we go. Okay, here we go. Oh, I love it. I love it. Right there, I can see our nanoparticles kicking in. That's right. Nanoparticles. Magic science baked right into the concrete gray matter mix, giving us special properties. Well, the main property being gray matter is a non-Newtonian fluid, meaning it does not behave according to classical Newtonian fluid dynamic laws. It is something different. And for that, I am thankful. Sriracha water. Here we go. Mixing, mixing, mixing. Oh, to the table. I feel like it's time. Look at that. We're going to see a great color come through. One of the most important things about gray matter, why I make gray matter to begin with, and why this is the concrete that I use to make what I make, is that I have the ability to control the base tone of the concrete itself. Most concrete is going to have a very, very dark gray tone to it. The starting point of this mix, starting point of gray matter, is pretty light. Like a very, very light, washed out taupe. And it does not take much pigment to bring it to a full white. We do not use white cement. I do not like white cement because I feel that you make concessions in your cure time and strength with white cement in order to achieve a color. And we do not want to make mechanical concessions to our mix. So we select as best we can to have very, very light base color material. And then if you want to get your starting tone to be lighter or start lighter, we'll add white. So that's why you see the base part of this color to be 40 grams white. That 40 grams of white is setting the tone of this, what I call coral, but you could call it lots of colors. It kind of is a washed out silly putty. It's like a pastel silly putty. It has elements of dusty rose, but I feel it has a lot less. Dusty rose, you would sub out the yellow for a blue pigment. So rather than having a red lean yellow, you'd have a red lean to the blue tones. But some people would interpret this as a dusty rose. In terms of saturation, I would say they're correct. But in terms of tone, a dusty rose leans bluer than this. Coral to the side. Oh, this is a beautiful, beautiful mix. Look at this. Oh, that's so, so perfect. Oh, baby, baby, baby. I love that. Look at that. Oh, that's so good. So good. Oh, that is good. That is a good mix. So I started with 100 milliliters of water per kilo, and then I bumped up a little bit. That's okay. Mix number 2, 1 kilo of gray matter. Oh, come here. Oh, water. 1 kilo of gray matter, 70 grams of black pigment, and 100 milliliters of water. Dump it all in. Mix it up. Very, very nice. Gray matter is about 4 times stronger than your average hardware store concrete. For good reason. That gives us cleaner edges, the ability to cast thinner objects, and we can also reproduce detail that is very small. Fingerprints. Concrete fingerprints. We need more. It has been very hot where I live. This concrete is very dry. And so we're mixing 100 milliliters per kilo and then topping up by feel. Topping up by feel. 100 milliliters per kilo of water is your starting point. Past that, you need to make your own. Oh yeah, there we go. So that's right now, that feels like probably 107 milliliters per kilo. That's about what I shot out. And that's coming together. If I were to add any more water at this point, it would be via spray bottle. That's just an old hairspray bottle, Aquanet. Oh, hello, hello, hello. Molds. What are we doing for molds today? Today we're doing something a little bit interesting. I've got some Look at that. There's a little rock. Oh, you can't see that, can you? There you go. You kind of see it. There is rocks in our concrete. We do rock, but we keep the filler. Those filler rocks, we keep them to a bare minimum. And if you need to add rocks, you can. You could add about 25% by volume to gray matter. What would that be by weight? It's tricky because that amount will fluctuate based off the density of the aggregate you're adding. So we give that as a measurement by volume, but 25% by volume you can add as just any type of filler aggregate. I would recommend something that isn't going to absorb a lot of water and something that isn't going to really react with water. Organics are not ideal. Lots of stone can be a great aggregate, or glass, and even plastic, which is an interesting aggregate. That's nice. Here we go. What is our mold today? What is our mold today? I want to know. What is our mold today? Oh, hello. Look at you. There we go. That's better.
Hello. Thank you for fixing that for me.
Hey, what's your name?
I'm Moldy. Nice to meet you. What's happening?
Mixing some gray matter, and I'm going to use you to make cool things. Is that okay?
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Thank you, Moldy. I'm going to get back into it, but I look forward to using you as a mold. I'm about to. Is that okay?
It's perfectly fine.
Thank you. Someone in the comments requested a two-part mold. We have a two-part mold, a very old two-part mold. Now, I have, if you had asked me 10 years ago, how would you fill a two-part mold? I would have told you something very different than what I'm telling you today. But today, what I'm telling you to do, this is not a great mold. I wouldn't copy this mold design if I were you. Today, if you were to make the same two-part mold, I would say fill each half, attach the two halves, and then add whatever you need to do to top up. Oh, baby. Oh, that looks yummy. Oh. I fold you in half again. Ooh, boy. Wonderful, wonderful. Shake it, shake it, shake, 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 shake. One more? That's crazy. Oh, look at that. Stretching it, flatten it. Okay, we're putting this in. That's a wild one. So I'm going to put in right into the full half and right into this half as well. And from there, we're going to vibrate. We're going to shake those out. So earlier I said this is not a great mold. Why is this not a great mold? The air holes suck on this mold. I have two air holes coming out right on the seam of the mold. This is not necessary. We should have one air hole fill hole that we can just run out of the corner. The corner is the most logical place you'd run air out of this. These channels for running out air and potentially using as a fill channel are yeah, dumb spot. But I was young and naive, and I didn't know how to really make molds. So We're going to work with what we got. This is what I had kicking around of the 2-part mold that I could use in a video, so we will use it. And the mold's good. There's good things about it too. There's keys to keep the mold halves aligned. There's a way to actually release air and fill them. That's brilliant too. Oh, I'm loving it. So I think we are probably full enough. I'm gonna seal the 2 halves together. Then we're gonna clamp this whole thing with this hardware store clamp. And then we need to fill the last little bit. So I'm making this a little more fluid, adding just a bit more water. I would not want to work with a whole mix that was this consistency, as it would you know what? Oh yeah, we can still add more right now. Let's do it. I overfilled those 2 halves a little bit. Let's see what happens. You know what? That's, I think, looking great. I'm going to leave it like that. We're going to check on that shortly. The other thing I have going on is a tray. So let's tray it out. Give this a nice shake. There we go. Get this very flat, very, very flat. That's nice. That's a great, great, great. Oh. There we go. Keep it going. Oh, this is looking real nice. We still got Crete. Let's use it up. I've got a small cactus planter. Wink. Oh, wow. Here we go. Come on, here we go. Tap it out. Home stretch. Tap it out. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Oh. Wonderful. And then this, I don't know. Good night, everyone. I'll see you in 4 hours. Hey, concrete friends. It has been 4 hours. Let's see what we got. I haven't used this mold in a very long time. Just curious. Oh, yes. The old notepad, post-it note, and pencil tray. Oh, that's beautiful. Very beautiful. If anyone wants to see this mold back in action, let me know. I can probably make some arrangements for you. Let me know in the comments. We can make more of these. You could make these if you want. Just, you got to tell me. How about this thing? This one, I was feeling. Ah, well, that's nice too. And the big request, 2-part mold that I clamped together. Old mold. That has definitely seen better days. I would design this mold incredibly. If I would design this mold entirely different if I were to do it again, because there's some places, yep, you're about to see why. There's some places with, this mold puts an incredible amount of stress because of how it's built, and I have a feeling it's going to tear apart. You're going to also probably see the reason why I don't use this type of silicone anymore. There it is. Look at that. That tore right out. That's one of the biggest issues with this silicone. I'm not going to name this company by name, but you probably know who that makes that. Look at that. That tore right out of there. I'm not surprised. Our other side, yeah. Nah, not great. Yeah. Total disaster, failure. with my old junky mold that I don't ever use anymore. We got an object, two-part object. I ran the seam down the corner, which is a smart place to run a seam, but yeah, not a great. This thing's cool. This thing's very cool, but not a great mold. This is a good example of the type of mold you don't want. You don't want a mold like this. Many mistakes making this mold. The biggest one is these points. A point that, you know, the seam didn't do us any favors with how the seam was built, and we still have pieces that can tear out. But a lesson learned that we get to learn together. You don't have to tear and destroy a mold. I'll do it for you. I hope you learned something. I hope you had fun. And I hope you'll tune in again the next time we go on a little concrete adventure together. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in.